Hello fellow YouTubers, it's Thursday, August 30, yes, it's the penultimate day of August and it's the penultimate day of winter. It's going to be another cold night. It's warming up, the days are warm, quite nice. We had another sort of spring-like day, sky was perfectly clear and the sun was warm, but there was a cool wind coming in from the southwest. It always is cold when it comes in. Well, I said cool, but it's cool to cold wind. Yes. Oh dear, I've got my little heater going over here because it's, well, I don't know what the temperature is in here. I'll have a look. Well, shall I have a look? Okay. It's a 15 degrees C. That's not really, it's not cold, but it's cool. That's 59 Fahrenheit. I had quite a busy day today. And to let you all know that my dearly beloved is much better today. Yes, much better. I can tell you with utmost certainty that the Hydrolyte I bought for her, it's a drink that replaces electrolytes in that when someone is vomiting and has diarrhea, is very good. But it'd want to be good because it was $14 a litre. But I thought it would work for her rather than just the Lucasade, and it did. She said it made a big difference. So she's inside now taking it easy and watching the news, and I'm watching the news down here. And yeah, well, that's that. Yeah, so what was I saying? I was quite busy today. I did a load of washing, and I did it at just after 1 o'clock. I remembered that the hamper in the bathroom was full, so I thought, well, I'll do a load of washing, and because the sun was warm and there was a bit of a breeze blowing, I hung it out at about 20 to 2, and it was dry by 4 o'clock, which is good. And I've done a few other little jobs around the house. I had, well, I had the cat's litter trays to clean up, and had the recycling bin to put out, and yeah, I had a lot of little jobs to do. And I took some photographs, 12 in all, of some of the flowers. Most are azaleas. There's a few there that I'm not sure what they are. But anyhow, it's going to take perhaps 30 seconds to look at them. So I hope you enjoy the photographs. Well, did you enjoy those? They're pretty, aren't they? Very pretty. Yes, very nice indeed. And the azaleas, the beauty of azaleas is that they will grow well in shade, and they're good in acid soil. That I do know. I'll do another reading. I'll finish off the reading when I did yet, because I had to quit rather abruptly because I was cooking chicken, and yes, I didn't burn the chicken. No, I was very mindful of that, and I had some chicken for dinner, and it was nice. In fact, I had some chicken again for dinner tonight. So anyhow, that all went well. I'll get my simple things here, and I think I was on page 34. Ah, yes. And I was going on about the calendar, yes. There was a photograph of a nude woman hanging on the wall as part of a calendar, and it always drew my attention. Now that'll be right. How did they get folded like that? Huh? Yeah, whatever. I gained my composure. This is what I just said. I knew I shouldn't be looking at it. But hey, what is a kid supposed to do when he sees something like that for the very first time? I think Mr. White knew I couldn't resist temptation and finally took it down. Or maybe it was just out of date. And he didn't bother replacing it. I remember feeling a little disappointed when I found it missing for the first time, but the image lingered on. Such is the way of a young and impressionable mind. And like that image that was etched into my mind, so it was with something else. Something that fascinated me from the first time I saw it. A sandstone shoulder ran along the entire length of the southern side of Charlie's house, and just below the right corner was a hole. It was a natural fissure in the rock, and I often looked and shouted into it, wondering how deep it was and what might be down there in the darkness. I dropped stones and listened with intent, but all I heard was a rapidly diminishing noise as they clattered to oblivion into the inky blackness. A stone tied to a length of string only left me wondering if there was any length of string long enough. How long is a piece of string? And tipping buckets of water into it proved to be an exercise in utter futility. Then one day that exercise turned into one of sheer desperation, but in reverse. I had a tin drum, a Christmas present. It was brightly decorated with animated soldiers holding drumsticks and wearing kettle drums as they quick-stepped all around the perimeter. The playing surface and the bass were white, and with its bright red collars top and bottom looked very similar to an ornamented biscuit tin. I don't know why I took it with me on that particular day to visit Charlie, or indeed why I was playing with it at all. It was a novelty item, new and interesting for a while, but the sort of toy parents had wished they hadn't bought in the first place. Such was the racket I made. I beat that drum day after day, whenever the urge prompted, carefree and unconcerned about the noise or those who heard it. Rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat. Good grief, George, my mother would say. Take that noisy thing outside. It's driving me to distraction. Oh dear. Outside I would go, rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat, marching around the backyard, neck strapped in place, rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat, on and on and on. Rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat. After 2 or 3 weeks, my enthusiasm began to wane. From a lively, vigorous rat-a-tat-tat to a lethargic tat-tat to a pick-up, fiddle with. I really don't want to play with this thing anymore. So onto the top of the wardrobe you go. So there it sat, gone but not forgotten, week after week, month after month, gathering dust until its resurrection and subsequent date with destiny. Charlie and I were playing in and about the vacant lot, climbing trees, hanging from the lower limbs, swinging back and forth and dropping to the ground, up and down, swing and drop, roll around in the dirt, dust yourself off sort of things. But in the end the whole beckoned. Like moths drawn to a flame, so it was with us. And as sure as the sun sets in the west, night follows day, and chickens go home to roost, we just had to pay a visit to that yawning void and put something in it. Just like kids have. I don't think much has changed. Come on. We dropped stones, handfuls of dirt, sticks and twigs into that orifice. A study of absolute concentration as we listened and waited for something to happen. Each and every time we made a dump. An expectation that if we kept on putting stuff into that hole, eventually we must fill it up and all our efforts would finally be rewarded. But it never happened. We'll never fill it up, I said as we seated ourselves side by side, separated by the hole. Charlie nodded in agreement and said, "You're right. I don't know why we bother." I shrugged and bent down and picked up the drum and drumsticks from their resting place. Placed it on my lap and started beating an all too familiar, melodious rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat. I rat-a-tat-tatted for a minute or two, then Charlie said, "Can I have a go on that thing?" "Sure," I replied, then handed him the drum. I didn't hesitate, for if anyone could produce a worthy note, it must surely be Charlie. I waited with expectation as he turned it over a couple of times, just looking at it. First the top, then the bottom, then vertical between the palms of his hands, slowly rotating it as he looked at the cavalcade of marching soldiers. Then it was gone. Here 1 second, gone the next, as it disappeared into the hole. I sat there with my mouth open in disbelief as it rattled, it dinked and clinked its goodbyes into the darkness. I glared at him, fists clenched, seething with anger. "What do you do that for?" I blurted out. I didn't mean to, George," he said defensively. It just slipped." "Slipped? You did that on purpose, you liar." With that said, I lunged for him. I was in such a rage I stumbled, momentarily giving Charlie enough time to take to his heels and bolt. He bolted all right. Straight down the side of the house he ran, hard left at the corner and shot up the back stairs like a whippet, with me hot on his tail. Into the house we both thundered, and to be stopped dead in our tracks by Mr. White. "What's going on here?" he demanded, lips pursed, eyebrows raised, his arms spread in a gesture of explanation. "Oh, nothing, Dad." "Nothing, eh? By the look on George's face, I'd say something happened." "George?" "He," I said, pointing at Charlie. "He dropped my drum into that hole, Mr. White. You know, the one around the side of the house." "Well, son, is that what happened?" "Yes, Dad, but it was an accident. I didn't mean to do it." "Yes, you did, Charlie. Yes, you did," I said with anger. I was really angry, I really was. "That's enough, George," Mr. White said consolingly, patting me on the shoulder. "Come on, let's go and have a look." Mr. White attached a garden hose to the front tap and attempted to float the drum out, but the water just disappeared like everything else. "I'm sorry, George," he said. "Thanks all the same, Mr. White," I replied. I looked at him and smiled. Then I looked at Charlie, sneered, and then went home. A couple of days later I went back, but somehow Mr. White had managed to plug the hole and fill it with concrete. I guess he thought it was better for all concerned. My drum was now lost forever. Oh dear. That's enough of that. Oh, yes. I can vividly remember. I vividly remember a lot of things from my childhood, and that's how I can write about them. But yeah, that hole, the drum, yeah, clinking and dinking its way, its good final goodbye. Heaven knows how deep that hole was. It could have gone down to the centre of the earth for all we knew. Anyhow, that's enough. I want to thank you for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed. And until next time, bye for now. Oh, you know what I was doing at the beginning? Well, I was going on about this. I'm exercising this double chin, this wattle here. I'm fed up with it. It's driving me to distraction. Oh, I've been doing exercises and trying to make it go away. It'll take some time, but I am determined, absolutely determined to get rid of it. And with that said, I am now going to drink my tea, which is probably rather cold by now, but I hope not. Until next time. Au revoir, farewell, and adieu. Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him Horatio.